everyone, it's Brenda Riches from RunPerfect.com, and today I'm going to talk to you about why orthotics for running may hold up your running progress by potentially adding more complex problems that may affect your overall running performance, and how orthotics could be a source of risk. And I came across a study, which I'll link below, which made the strong case that there may not be a good mechanical incentive of wearing orthotics for running. A large systematic review, which I'll link below, looked at the corrective properties of orthotics in runners, and the research concluded that running in orthotics may result in adverse effects on lower leg joint health and may even drain energy. In the context of preventing running injuries, classic conventional theory assumes that with controlled pronation, you might be able to run with a reduced risk of injury and possibly be able to maximize your running performance gains. Generally speaking, orthotics are the typical conventional approach in correcting mechanical burdens of over or under pronation of the foot during running, which means that orthotics are intended to control abnormal and unwanted movements of the foot, primarily wonky movements at the heel during running. Furthermore, orthotics can be also used as arch support for those with flat or collapsed arches. Ultimately, runners share the same goal as to how to prevent running injury, whereas orthotics are typically the first line of treatment for most, but the current research alludes to the fact that orthotics may not be good enough to prepare a runner to be completely successful at avoiding injury or enhancing running performance. The study quantified the muscle activation related to the muscle function in the lower leg and the energy required to support and accelerate the body during running. The researchers looked at these energetic components in runners who ran in orthotics and runners who ran without orthotics. The researchers concluded that orthotics had a dramatic effect on running performance, but not necessarily in a good way. What the researchers found was that orthotics globally increased muscle activation in the lower leg compared to the non-orthotic running group. Relative increases in muscle activation in the lower leg was the highest in the tibialis anterior, so the shin, the peroneus longus, and the biceps femoris. Basically, much of the lower leg showed rapid bursts in muscle activation in the runners who ran in orthotics than the non-orthotic running group. So why did the orthotic runners show more intensive efforts at the muscle activation level in the lower leg than the runners who did not run in orthotics? The researchers hinted that the increased muscle activation of the lower leg in the orthotic running group, the surge in muscle activation in the lower leg may have reflected ankle instability. Ankle stability is, of course, a core pillar to balance control during running, but the evidence suggests that you have competing forces in terms of balance control at the ankle when you run in custom-made orthotics. So the evidence is a potential revealing indicator that running may get a little complicated if you wear custom-molded orthotics, because they may influence ankle instability, which may certainly disadvantage a runner. The study quantified muscle activation based on EMG intensity, whereby EMG intensity indicated high muscle activation during running. From this data, the researchers found that the orthotic running group showed a significant increase in lower leg muscle activation as compared with the non-orthotic runners. The researchers suggested that the increased muscle activation observed in the orthotic running group reflected the intensifying efforts of the body's attempt to stabilize the foot-ankle complex during running, in keeping with the narrative as to how orthotics may undermine a runner's progress. The researchers also found that increased muscle activation in fast-twitch muscle fibers led to the early onset of fatigue and hindered performance, as increased muscle activation spurred on by orthotics was strongly associated with a higher energy expenditure. Not to mention, the researchers found that the non-orthotic running group ran faster than the orthotic runners, which may indicate that running without orthotics could presumably result in more optimal conditions for running, since ankle stability seemed to be greater in the non-orthotic running group. This data is momenting the fact that orthotics may create risks that can jeopardize or significantly reduce a runner's stability and running economy. In line with this, the researchers speculated that orthotics may dismantle running performance further held by the fact that orthotics may prevent the body's natural preferred movement path of joint and skeletal structures during running. This finding is interesting because based on the data, when you wear orthotics for running, you can't have it both ways with respects to performing well and avoiding injury. What I mean by that is you can use orthotics to rein in your worst impulses, including controlling over or under pronation, but correcting abnormalities in foot movements via orthotics might not move you toward better performance during running. Based on the research, orthotics were a key enabler for eliciting a constant costing surge in fatigue-inducing muscle activation in the lower leg, and also appeared to push the runners to potentially make reckless mechanical actions, which may create new vulnerabilities. There may be no quick or magic fix for abnormal pronation when running, but based on this research, you may want to stop seeing orthotics as the crucial line of defense for blocking running injuries. Can you substitute orthotics? A lot of other research proposes that orthotics may be counterproductive because orthotics may erode foot strength and foot function, which may create more risks. In this view, what a runner needs is to have strong, steady ankle strength, as well as foot strength, which will spread to more stability up the kinetic chain of the lower leg during running. Based on emerging empirical evidence and at the anecdotal level, many have attested to this fact that the sobering fact is that walking and even running barefoot may be better than most orthotic approaches, since a lot of the research on the effects of barefooting on foot ankle strength arrives at the same basic conclusion that barefooting directly stimulates the foot ankle complex on many fronts. The foot musculature is not restrained, which leads to more intensifying efforts to get the foot musculature, soft tissue compartments of the foot more engaged, as well as the arch of the foot. The bare foot can also extract raw tactile and sensory stimulation that is more inflated in the foot, producing changes which forges a massive influx in strength in the foot that is whole. And when you boil it down, this is a more comprehensive approach to naturally strengthening your foot mechanics that orthotics can't match. That is why barefooting is considered a more potentially worthwhile path. It really is no mystery about what it takes to develop foot strength. Barefooting appears to be better than most traditional approaches. The bottom line here is that when it comes to struggling to control abnormal pronation during running, you may need to strengthen your feet because strong feet is pivotal at acting as a natural over or under pronatory restraint. And what happens when you go barefoot has a way of making your feet strong and intensively engaged, so your feet have a better reach to stop abnormal pronation during running, whereas in orthotics, muscle strength development appears to lag. It may actually be easier to get foot strength manifested through barefooting than with external support. So there is something to consider if you wear orthotics but find they aren't really helping. Then give the attention your feet needs by walking barefoot outdoors more often, especially on uneven surfaces, because doing so places special emphasis on strengthening the intrinsic musculature deep within the foot, especially around the arch. So it sets the architectural parameters that produces more positive results to help speed things forward with ramping up the foot's internal preparation to exert better control over abnormal pronatory actions during running. For more information on the health benefits of barefoot running, please visit my blog, runforfoot.com, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay updated on all the latest research regarding forefoot running versus heel strike running. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have fun out there on the roads. Bye for now.